And welcome to episode number 080 of Something Else. Feast your ear holes on this week's episode as we take a look at Mid South Wrestling from February 19th, 1983. My name is Arya, and welcome to the show. All right, how is everybody doing today? I'm going to assume that y'all are saying, I'm good, and that's good to hear. I'm happy you're doing good. I'm doing pretty good. My girl Taylor Swift, she won a Super Bowl on her first try, which is better than my Buffalo Bills. So maybe Taylor could hook up with Josh Allen or something next year, and help will us through the playoffs. Oh well. Anywho, congrats to the Chiefs. You'll lose next year. The Bills are going to win it next year. And there's your football recap for the year. So, before we begin, just want to throw out our normal thing here. If you wish to support this show without paying anything extra, please consider using my Amazon Associates link. It is tinyurl.com/something else Amazon. You just use Amazon like normal. You don't pay an extra penny, but I get a small kickback with it, which helps me pay for upgrades and the admittedly small amount that I have to pay to produce this show. Depending where you're listening to us, there are multiple ways to hear us. You can also check us out on tinyurl.com/something else YouTube, where in addition to slowly putting up the archive, back it's going up so slow, I haven't done it in like 6 weeks, I think. But in addition to that, you also get the full length, both audio and video versions of this show. And no, the video version is not you staring at my ugly mug for about 40 minutes a week. It is the actual 100% unedited full episode of either Mid South Wrestling or Smoky Mountain Wrestling, depending on which podcast you're listening to. And I'm not sure why I sped up when I just talked right there. So it's the actual wrestling show at the end of the actual audio show. Check that out. Next week, I don't want to give anything away yet, but there could be something a little bit different next week. So tune in next week and we'll see if that happens. If you live in the Northeast like I do, hope you're enjoying all the snow we got. Well, as you're listening to this yesterday, but as I'm recording this today, Tuesday, the 13th. By the way, I do want to say this, and I say this every year, no matter if I'm in a relationship or not. It bums me out when otherwise awesome people will base their self-worth on whether or not they're in a relationship on February 14th. Let me just say, fuck that. Y'all are some awesome fucking people out there. Some of y'all may have some nasty things to say about me in the comments, but at the end of the day, y'all are some fucking awesome people. So please, just stop. Just embrace the awesomeness and just be the great person that you are. And if you're meant to be in a relationship one day, then you're going to be in one. But you know something? Just have fun being you. And we'll go from there. Now for our late breaking news on the Vince McMahon situation. Nothing new. Because, again, legal system, it goes fucking slow. And it wasn't going to be cured in 2 weeks. TNA. TNA fired Scott D'Amore. And I got to tell you something. This one, I'm sure it sucks more to be Scott D'Amore, and probably sucks more if you actually work for the company. But this one as a fan really fucking sucks. And TNA has been around for almost 22 years, which is impossible to believe, to be perfectly fucking honest with you. But it has. It's been around for 22 years. It can legally drink if it wants to. Arguably, the only two periods in TNA history where it was consistently enjoyable to watch, not like, oh, they had a couple of good shows here or a good pay per view there. No. The periods where they were consistently good and fun to watch were 2004 to 2006, and then um, honestly, right before the time Omega jumped, or didn't jump there, but went there in 2020 until recently. And the key factor in all that was fucking Scott D'Amore. And I guess it's one of those, we'll see. Maybe somehow it'll come out that Scott D'Amore ultimately didn't have a whole lot to do with how great TNA had been recently. I tend to not believe that, but I guess we'll see. So good luck to TNA, but Scott D'Amore not being there, the only thing that it could happen next is they come out this week and say Russo's back in. And because like show turned off immediately. That shit happened. Also Cody's going to WrestleMania. So remember all that ranting I did last week and raving and blah 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 blah. Yeah, kind of ignore that. So Cody's in the main event. In fact, he's probably doing the main event both nights because it's probably going to be him and SFR versus the Rock and Roman on Saturday. Okay, then. All right. So now we got all the preliminaries out of the way in like 5 minutes. Well, let's jump into the main event. Let's jump into Mid-South Wrestling. This is Mid-South Wrestling from February 19th, 1983 from the Irish O'Neill Boys Club in Shreveport, Louisiana. We're going to go to the intro of the show this week. It's with Boyd Pierce, and it's a bit long. This is an almost 5-minute intro, but it goes around the block a little bit here. And so let's go to Boyd now, and I'll be back to talk about it on the other side.
Next edition of Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. I'm your host, Boyd Pierce, and we have a lot of exciting action coming up. We'll be telling you about things that have happened in the past, something great events to look forward to in the future, and exciting interviews. We also have great matches this week as Mr. Wrestling 2 is here. Also, the Junkyard Dog will be in action. Tag team match will feature the Mid-South Tag Team title holders Ted DiBiase and Matt Bourne. Another great battle. It'll be Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Tiger Conway Jr. But before that, we're going to hear from a man at ringside with some interesting news. Let's go to Cowboy Bill Watts.
Well, throughout the Mid-South area, we've been thanking you fans for making us #1 in our viewing time on the different television stations. And standing here next to me is Buddy Nichols, who's the sports director at KALB TV in Alexandria, Louisiana. And he's come here to guest commentate with Boyd Pierce a few of the matches here today on Mid-South Wrestling. Buddy, originally you're from Jonesboro, Arkansas. Just how'd you get interested in wrestling?
Oh, Arky moved down to Louisiana, Bill. Of course, I've always been interested in pro wrestling, one of the most exciting pro sports around these days. Central Louisiana, Alexandria, one of the best wrestling areas in the state of Louisiana. Wrestling fans are the greatest in Sinaloa.
Well, we sure appreciate KALB TV because we've been with them a long, long time, and they've made wrestling what it is today, along with the promoters in Alexandria and with the talent of Mid-South. And we're certainly proud to have you here, and I know Boyd Pierce will be looking forward to you sharing some of the commentary with him. First, we have to look back to a little situation that happened last week when the Mid-South tag titles were at stake against Andre the Giant and Mr. USA Tony Atlas. And there was an altercation, a serious altercation, in which involved one Hacksaw Duggan and Kamala, the Ugandan warrior, along with Skandor Akbar. And this time, Ted DiBiase is pleading innocent. He said he had nothing to do with the Akbar situation. He said that was a personal score that Akbar and Kamala had with the 8th wonder of the world, Andre the Giant. We have sent the films of that match to the Law Enforcement or Rule Enforcement Committee of Mid-South Wrestling in Florida. Charlie Lay is the president and chairman of that committee. We do expect some action. There could be very serious and heavy fines levied because of that action here last week. But let's listen as DiBiase and Matt Bourne profess their innocence and exult in their retaining the titles.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. That's right, all you people out there. You're looking at the Mid-South Tag Team Champions. Maybe much to your dismay, but in fact, we are still the Mid-South Tag Team Champions. Look at the team we beat. Last week, right here on television,
Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant and Big Guns Tony Atlas. Probably the most awesome team to ever been pitted against any tag team combination, and we are still your champions. Hacksaw, come on in here, Hacksaw, and join this celebration. You're part of the Rat Pack. That's right. Thank you, brother.
Take back those belts that rightfully belong to you. And being a team that will go down in history as one of the strongest teams. But obviously, these two guys are stronger. But one thing I want to ask you, Teddy, you had nothing to do with that Akbar coming down there because the Rat Pack can stick together. Tell me you had nothing to do with it.
Well, why'd you ask?
Well, there's three reasons. First of all, I don't like managers, and I know you guys don't. We don't need no manager taking care of our business. Second of all, that guy's some oil man. He's making a living off my bread, your bread, my family's bread, your family's bread. We don't need that. And third, and most of all, he has taken care of that Iron Sheik character that has something to do with Iran. Now, I stand for what I stand for, but some things I don't. So we don't need him, baby. And I'm proud of you guys. Nothing to do with it, baby.
No, man, no. One for all for one. We're the Rat Pack, man.
All together, the three of us,
That's
we can
right.
take care of business. And if you people got any questions, Dog, Atlas, anybody, just come and try any one of us.
Well, they're all gloating now, but let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, they have made the biggest man in wrestling mad. And I don't care whether you're in Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Oklahoma, wherever you might be. I mean, mad is spelled M-A-D. So once somewhere down the line, they'll have to face him again, right? With us now, as Bill Watts has told you, with a wonderful introduction, and we welcome him here to the platform and on the table of Mid-South Wrestling, Buddy Nichols. Buddy, we look forward to being with us as our guest this week. We're going to go directly to the ring, and then you'll tell us all about it in the first match.
Okay, thank you very much, Boyd. Happy to be here.
Thank you.
Okay, so we get off to a rousing start here with the introduction, because Boyd promised us we're going to talk about things in the past and things in the future and some other stuff too. A lot of people are wrestling today, but the only match of any note is Jim Duggan versus Tiger Conway Jr. From that takes us to Bill Watts, who is with a man in a suit, who is apparently Buddy Nichols from KALB of Alexandria, Virginia. And Mr. Nichols says that pro wrestling is one of the most exciting sports today. Wrestling fans are the greatest, etc., etc. Bill Watts was nice enough to point out that apparently KALB, think about, pro wrestling in the 1980s. It exploded in national popularity. And, people, tend to not pick up on this, but wrestling was still pretty fucking popular before Hulk Hogan dropped the leg on the Iron Sheik. But whatever you think of wrestling in the 1980s, you can apparently thank KALB TV. KALB has made wrestling what it is. Actually, this is 1983. Has made wrestling what it is in 1983. Thank you, KALB, because without KALB, you and I may, what the fuck was that? You and I may not be sitting here talking and listening about wrestling. Because, hey, thank you to KALB, who made wrestling what it is today. A big thumbs up to the fine people at KALB. Although that asks another question. If it did make wrestling what it is in 1983, what if we get to something that sucks? Is it KALB's fault? Because they're the ones that made wrestling the way it is in 1983. I'm probably overthinking this. Anywho, from there they start talking about last week's match with Ted DiBiase and Matt Bourne versus Andre the Giant and Tony Atlas. He says that DiBiase has pled innocence. They're saying that Kamala's actions are the actions of Kamala and Akbar, and DiBiase has nothing to do with it. And Watts says they're going to send the tape of the match to the Rule Enforcement Committee of Mid-South, who are apparently located in Florida. Now, you might want to ask, why is the Rules Committee of Mid-South Wrestling, which is, Louisiana, Oklahoma, that area down there, why is the Rules Committee located in Florida? I guess that makes as much sense as anything else? Question mark. Anywho, we go to it's called a Matt Bourne and Ted DiBiase promo, but it's really a Ted DiBiase promo where Matt Bourne just hangs out and watches Ted talk. Anywho, they're bragging about their win last week because, for fuck's sake, you beat Andre the Giant in 1983, even though you didn't actually beat Andre the Giant. That's a pretty big fucking deal. Duggan comes in, who congratulates them on winning. And oh boy, spoiler, 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 a seed has been planted. Remember last week when we talked about how, Akbar came running in with Kamala and Duggan looked perplexed during the match? Well, there's a reason he looked perplexed because he is not a fan of General Skandor Akbar. He says they don't need a manager. He's not a fan of Akbar because Akbar is involved in the oil business, and also Akbar had, sided with the Iron Sheik, which, is this whole thing is going to be weird for a number of reasons, and we'll broach all of them here. But, DiBiase says they had nothing to do with Akbar, which sends us back to Boyd and Buddy to recap it and send this to the ring for our first match. Now, it's kind of weird that Jim Duggan is concentrating on the Iron Sheik aspect of it. And he doesn't like the Iron Sheik and how he represents Iran. The weird part about that is, for those long-time listeners to this show, Iron Sheik was, gone before Jim Duggan came in. Iron Sheik was out in January of 82. Duggan didn't come in until April of 82. Now, there is one other thing I got to point out. For those long-time listeners of this show, about a year ago, when Jim Duggan debuted, something happened. And I told you all to, keep this in the back of your mind. Do you remember what that was? It's fine if you don't, because I'll tell you. Jim Duggan debuted against Dick Murdoch, and he had as his manager General Skandor Akbar. The story was that General Skandor Akbar brought Jim Duggan in to go after Dickie Murdoch. That part, however, you need to forget, because that never happened. No matter what video footage might exist of this, you must acknowledge the fact that it never, ever happened. Ever. So with that in mind, a seed has been planted for the future, and we are going to the ring for our first match. It is Tom Renesto Jr. versus Art Cruz. Oh boy, we are starting with a barn burner this week. We'll see how long I can say this, but 30 seconds into the match, Buddy Nichols is 1,000 times better than Paul Bosch was. Like, holy crap. Like, and it's not even funny here because, I'm assuming that Buddy Nichols is exactly what they say he is. He's sports director of KALB in Alexandria, Louisiana, and he's not somebody who does pro wrestling commentary on the side. But while he is not, Gordon Soley, he's not Jim Ross, he's not, Jerry Lawler on a good day, he certainly was not, fucking Paul Bosch. So this was a technically proficient match between two jobbers. Cruz used the running punch to the face and a spinning neckbreaker for the win in an unremarkable match. Now, I had forgotten what had been promised the past 2 weeks on Mid-South, what they talked about. They were going to finally get footage to air us here. So when that match ended and a graphic popped up on the screen saying that after commercial, up next is Ric Flair. I'm like, what the fuck? And I wasn't just saying what the fuck because they spelled Ric Flair's name wrong. They spelled it with a K, but it's Mid-South. The fact they spell anyone's name right is, the news. But they announced that Ric Flair is going to be in action, and then it said versus Kerry Von Erich. And suddenly I remembered. So yes, we're getting talk about that cage match. And before we get to that, Bill Watts has thrown our good buddy Buddy Nichols out of the commentary desk, and he has stepped in to introduce the clip of this match.
Michael Hayes, Terry Gordy, and Buddy Roberts are, there's a tremendous amount of excitement and a tremendous amount of controversy. A lot of people like the Freebirds and a lot of people dislike them. I happen to be of the latter. I don't believe people change their stripes. I think that the Freebirds under Michael Hayes are under an evil influence, a very opportunist, and then December the 25th, Christmas Day, they had a match for the NWA Championship in Dallas inside a steel cage. Michael Hayes had been elected by the people to be the second referee in the match to maintain order. A cage match is a very violent match, and it's oftentimes a very bloody match because of the barbs on the cage. We'll join the last few moments of this match with Kerry Von Erich and Ric Flair, the NWA champion, and you'll see why people all over the country are talking about the Freebirds reverting to form and the big feud going on in Texas between the Von Erich family and the Freebirds. Let's join the final moments of that long, grueling match in the cage with Kerry Von Erich and Ric Flair.
So, I mean, this is Mid-South. It is not world class, but we do, in fact, get an almost 8-minute clip of the Ric Flair Kerry Von Erich cage match, the famous cage match on Christmas night 1982 in Dallas, Texas, where Michael Hayes, as the second referee in the ring, tried to cheat to get Kerry Von Erich to win the title, but Kerry Von Erich, the, good babyface, gentlemanly wrestler that he is, he would not take the cheating victory. And it led to bullshit. It led to Hayes accidentally getting knocked off the apron and out of the cage. What wasn't seen was that Ric Flair had kneed, Kerry in the back, and Kerry crashed into Hayes, and it led to that moment. And then the moment that exploded a territory, Terry Gordy slammed the cage door on Kerry Von Erich's head, and they walked out. Now, here's the funny thing, and I know this, but I always forget it. Because you can say a lot about modern day wrestling, but I don't know. I'm not seeing. I don't know, and I guess I'm wrong because it probably happened twice last week, and I'm just blanking it out of my memory. But Terry Gordy hitting Kerry Von Erich with the cage door was not the end of the match. And there might be some people out there going, "Wait, what?" So Kerry gets the cage door slammed on his head. Ric Flair makes the cover, and Kerry kicks out. And they keep going for like another 3 or 4 minutes, and eventually they just stop the match and say Kerry can't continue. Here in our steel cage match on Christmas night at Reunion Arena in Dallas, Texas, the match has been stopped. Ric Flair wins. Why? I don't know. And I get it's not 2024, and wins and losses really don't matter anymore. They haven't mattered in a really long time, and I doubt we'll ever get to the point where they will matter. But, why couldn't Flair just win? And I get, the NWA World Champion really didn't have the greatest win-loss record back in the day. It was a lot of draws. But, dude, it's like, if there was ever a time to just have Ric Flair win the fucking match, Gordy hitting him in the fucking head with the cage door would have been it. Especially since it wouldn't have been about Flair winning. It would have been about Gordy fucking over Kerry Von Erich. Because this way, and hey, I'm looking at this again through 2024 eyes. So there's part of me that's kind of surprised, with the way that they ended up booking it, that it turned out so amazingly well for them. Because to me, Yeah, Gordy and Hayes turned on him and slammed the cage door on his head, but it didn't affect the match. You know, yeah, fine, the match got stopped and whatnot, but motherfucker, he kept going. He got the claw on. He could have beaten Ric Flair, which all could have happened whether or not, Gordy hit him with the damn door. But anyway, if I ever do a world class podcast, I'll complain on there about that. So after that, we come back to the desk where Bill Watts is somber.
Kerry Von Erich sustained a severe concussion due to that iron gate hitting him in the head when Terry Gordy swung it shut on him. And he was out of wrestling for a while. And Michael Hayes and the Freebirds have decided to dominate Texas, and they pretty well have. They've wrapped up the tag team titles and one of the important regional titles in that area. But the Von Erich family have been in some severe feuds before, and if I know them, they're going to be hot on the Freebirds' trail. But we did want to clarify, because so many fans have asked us, is what happened with the Freebirds in Dallas, Texas, and that's what happened. And Boyd, we'll be back after that.
And we'll see Marty Lundy versus Mr. Wrestling 2 when we return.
So Bill talks about the concussion that Kerry got from the cage door. Weird, since we didn't know how bad concussions were until 2007. But, that is what it is. Marty Lundy versus Mr. Wrestling 2, as promised before the break. Bill Watts is doing commentary here, so I guess our good buddy isn't doing the whole show. They bring up, again, what's going on with Mr. Wrestling 2 and whomever is destroying his property. 2 is mad that whomever it is won't come out of the closet. And you know something? That's a personal choice, especially in 1983 when we weren't in, it wasn't a safe enough world to really be yourself. So telling people to come out of the closet, that's just, plain rude, Mr. Wrestling 2. And I try to hold you to a higher standard than that, Mr. Wrestling 2. And for the 3 people who are going to question that, I'm joking. I know what he meant. So Bill talks about the North American title tournament coming up on March 21st. And of course, the situation where Stagger Lee disappeared when Junkyard Dog came back and vacated the belt. And then 2 wins with a knee lift. Now, after this match, a very unusual message has arrived at the desk. Let's go to Bill Watts and Boyd Pierce.
And Boyd, right before we went on the air for this taping session, we received a very unusual message. And all I know is the message says that Junkyard Dog, when you get in the ring to wrestle your match, be sure to watch the back door. And with the things that have been happening to Wrestling 2 and the things that have happened to the Junkyard Dog, even like when Duggan was in the audience in the gorilla suit, I'm sure that maybe that is a crank threat. We don't know, but I'm sure that Dog cannot afford to ignore it. And we'll find out, because the Junkyard Dog is next.
That's right, and we'll be right back after this word from Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
So a very unusual message came to the desk, before the show began, before the taping began. And for some reason, Bill Watts, knowing that this is a very unusual message, waited until halfway through the show to announce it. Well, whatever. So Junkyard Dog needs to watch the back door during his match. And in the Best Timing Award of 1983, Junkyard Dog was out next to go one-on-one with Sonny Rogers. So Junkyard Dog is in the ring. Sonny Rogers is in the ring. Mr. Wrestling 2 and Tiger Conway Jr. are at ringside to watch Jay Whitey's back. The bell has rang, and let's go to the audio and see what is going on.
Well, I keep wondering, Wrestling 2 and Tiger Conway Jr. came out, and they're all kind of looking toward the back there at that warning, and the Junkyard Dog is looking back there. He picked his chain up. Something's coming out of the back door. If we can get the camera to pick it up. And hear a motor. Man dressed in black. run back into that smoke-filled area. Sonny Rogers gets out of the ring. The Junkyard Dog looks like a martial arts type of confrontation, a kendo stick. I don't know if that's symbolic or if they actually fight with those sticks. And the crowd is looking forward to this, whatever's going to happen. This man is coming in, and so far the Junkyard Dog is staring him, looking right at him, whoever he is. The man is doing some form of ceremony. I don't know if this is some type of ceremonial warning. They had said for Junkyard Dog to watch the back door. So far the man has not attacked him. I believe that from the times I wrestled in Japan, that certainly looks like a kendo stick, which is a stick that they practice the art of the samurai type sword fighting. But these sticks can be very, very effective in a fight against a person naturally not armed with a blade. They're made of bamboo, very strong. The guy's got some kind of a metal face mask with a grill effect on, I suppose, to keep it from injuring your eyes, but he's doing definitely some type of martial arts situation. We don't know who he is. He is definitely facing off, and the dog, it looks like they're about ready to come to blows there. Crowd is chanting for JYD. JYD. The man now is leaving the ring. But Sonny Rogers from behind, boys. Sonny Rogers saw his chance to try to score on the JYD right here on television, and he...
Okay. So, in case you're thinking, hey, the audio didn't really, pick up what's going on and what the big thing is here, I can tell you the audio pretty much told you the story of that. So, a man on a motorcycle comes out, and he drives slowly to the ring. He lurches into place. He then walks to the back, and he comes out with a kendo stick. Now, this is 1983, and long before the Sandman showed up with a Singapore cane, long before the WWF Hardcore division, long before you saw kendo sticks, every single week on television, whether you wanted to or not. So this is still, I don't say a mysterious weapon, but it is definitely different. And Bill Watts actually did explain what it is, because again, this is 1983. And this man comes out, and he's wearing a black gi that covers his entire body. He's wearing a black mask with a grill on his face. A grill. Now, I think, there's at least a few of you all out there who know exactly who this is. But we'll give it a week, because spoiler alert, he'll be back next week and actually have a match. And yeah, so the grill face is here, and apparently he's after the Junkyard Dog. He gets in the ring. Junkyard Dog has his big ass chain. Grill Boss has a kendo stick, and eventually Grill Boss just backs away and leaves. Now, Sonny Rogers attacks Junkyard Dog from behind because, again, this is a match, and apparently a third party driving a motorcycle to the ring and getting into the ring with a kendo stick does not constitute a disqualification of any kind. But Sonny Rogers attacks from behind and then immediately gets pinned with a thumb. I'll tell you what, though. Junkyard Dog, he always wins his matches quickly. Sonny Rogers went 4 minutes with the Junkyard Dog on television. So that's something to put on your wrestling resume there, Sonny Rogers. Like, yeah, you didn't win. You went 4 fucking minutes with the guy from bell to bell. 4. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 5, but 4. Tag team champions Ted DiBiase and Matt Bourne versus Tim Horner and Tony Torres. So, if Matt's dad, Tony Bourne, had been wrestling here, we would have had 4 guys with a first name that starts with a T. Of course, if DiBiase's dad was still alive and wrestling here, we could have had M&M versus TNT. And if I make any more bad jokes, all 54 people who listen to the show won't listen to it anymore. Or maybe I'll get more listeners with more bad jokes. Tell me in the comments section, more bad jokes, less bad jokes. What do you think? Anyway, Watts talks more about Duggan not liking General Skandor Akbar. Horner and Torres run wild on the heels. As we've mentioned, Horner has been getting a little bit of a push. And thankfully, the best part of this is we do not have to listen to him talk. That is reserved for Thursdays on the Smoky Mountain Rewatch Along Project. And I think that's a show more people listen to. Next week, it's DiBiase and Bourne versus Junkyard Dog and Mr. Wrestling 2 in a non-title match. In 2 weeks, 90 days goes fast when you're having fun, I guess. In 2 weeks, Mr. Olympia returns after his 90-day suspension is up. If you recall, they did the match in December. DiBiase and Bourne versus Stagger Lee and Mr. Olympia. Loser of the Fall leaves town for 90 days. And Mr. Olympia did the JOB, and we have not seen him since. What is going to happen in 2 weeks when Mr. Olympia finally returns? And then, by the way, DiBiase pinned Torres with a power slam. Louisiana champion Hacksaw Duggan versus Tiger Conway Jr. Again, it's becoming more and more obvious that the state titles are being done away with, as it's never mentioned that 2 was the Mississippi champion. And while Duggan is a Louisiana champion, and he does wear the belt like a scarf, it's said in passing, not concentrated on, and he is far more obsessed with a brass knucks title being brought back. Watts said Tiger was on a hiatus from wrestling, but is now back. Duggan says he's going to exterminate cockroaches and specifically mentions wrestlers from south of the border. They say Paul Bosch wants to put together a brass knucks title tournament over the summer. That brings back the question that we talk about a lot on here, that if this is the toughest man in wrestling, if the brass knucks champion is the toughest man, why wouldn't he be the world champion? Because the world champion is the toughest man in wrestling. Anywho, Duggan kicked out of the lateral press, and Tiger landed on the referee. Duggan backdropped Tiger over the top rope, but the referee was down. Then Tiger and Duggan ran into the referee a second time before Duggan hit the spear for what would have been the pin. But it turns out Alfred Neely was not unconscious when Duggan threw Tiger Conway over the top rope, as referee Alfred Neely wakes up and disqualifies Jim Duggan, and Tiger Conway Jr. is your winner as a result of a disqualification. Conway, by the way, made a fiery comeback, and Duggan rolled out of the ring and ran away. All right, it is time for our final match. It is the expiration of time match, Kelly Kiniski versus Joe Stark. So now that the important matches are out of the way, we are rejoined by Buddy Nichols of KALB TV. The most notable thing here is Joe Stark deadweighting Kiniski on a sidewalk slam, and the match went to the expiration of time limit draw. So, let's be honest, not the most exciting episode of Mid-South Wrestling we've ever watched. We have a random man with a kendo stick and a motorcycle. He's gonna be back next week. We're gonna see what he has to say. But here's another person coming in a feud with, Junkyard Dog. And, Dog has his plate full. Plus, I'm not going to say this is a great episode because of this, but we did get the seed firmly planted, with Jim Duggan and General Skandor Akbar. I've told you all now that you need to forget that Akbar managed him a year ago. It didn't happen, no matter what video or audio proof you may have. It did not happen. Listen to me, people. It did not happen. No, no, no. Stop talking. Stop. Hey, hey, hey. I told you to stop talking. And when I say stop talking, I mean it, damn it. Jim Duggan and General Skandor Akbar were not together. Jim Duggan hates General Skandor Akbar because he does business with oil men. And also, he does business with the Iron Sheik. And Jim Duggan is against those things. So Jim Duggan would never be involved with somebody who's into those things. You need to listen to me, people, when I'm telling you this. I promise. I'm not leading you onto the Primrose Pass. Primrose Pass. I'm also unable to speak this week, but I'm still telling you the truth. Duggan would never do such a thing. He's a good, honorable heel. He would never team. He would never be managed by somebody like General Skandor Akbar. Okay, so that was Mid-South Wrestling. So before we finish things up, as always, we like to finish this up with a little segment we like to call Weird News of the Week. And that is Weird News of the Week presented by Nobody. Nobody, the company that sponsors nothing. And as always, we go to UPI.com. We go to our good friend Ben Hooper, and we have Aquarium. Pregnant stingray could be having clones or shark babies. Workers at a North Carolina aquarium were shocked when a stingray was found to be pregnant, despite her only male companions being a pair of sharks. The aquarium and shark lab by Team Echo in downtown Hendersonville said staff initially thought the stingray, named Charlotte, might have cancer when they started to notice swelling in September. Testing showed Charlotte was not only cancer-free, but she was pregnant with up to 4 pups. Brenda Raymer, founder and executive director of Team Echo, said officials have 2 theories on how Charlotte could have gotten pregnant. The first possibility is a process in which eggs develop without fertilization and grow into clones of their mother. Raymer said the aquarium has observed the process in sharks before, but it is far more rare in stingrays. It's a once in the bluest of blue moons experience, Raymer told WLOS TV. Raymer said the other possibility involves a pair of male white spot bamboo sharks named Larry and Mo who were moved into Charlotte's tank last summer. We started to notice bite marks on Charlotte, but saw their fish nipping at her, so we moved fish, but the biting continued. She said bite marks can be a sign of mating behavior for sharks, leading to the suspicions that Larry or Mo may have had an amorous encounter with the stingray. We're either going to have Partho babies or we're going to have some kind of a potential mixed breed, and we're waiting for Jeff Goldblum to show up because we are Jurassic Park right now. Raymer said the DNA test will be conducted once the pups are born to determine if they are the products of, the stingray or something even more bizarre. So for Weird News of the Week, we really hit the weird this week. And that's going to do it for this week's show. As I said, next week I'm working on something that might make next week's episode more special than usual. Otherwise, it's just going to be more Mid-South. But hey, fingers crossed, tap on wood. Hopefully the weather holds up, And as you can hear the music, that's a sign we're coming to a conclusion. So I thank everybody for listening. Hope you all enjoyed the show. And we'll talk to you again in 7 days.
everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. I'm your host, Boyd Pearson. We have a lot of exciting action coming up. We'll be telling you about things that have happened in the past, something great events to look forward to in the future, and exciting interviews. We also have great matches this week, as Mr. Wrestling 2 is here. Also, the Junkyard Dog will be in action. Tag team match will feature the Mid-South Tag Team title holders, Ted DiBiase and Matt Bourne. Another great battle. It'll be Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Tiger Conway Jr. But before that, we're going to hear from a man at ringside with some interesting news. Let's go to Cowboy Bill Watts.
Well, throughout the Mid-South area, we've been thanking you fans for making us #1 in our viewing time on the different television stations. And standing here next to me is Buddy Nichols, who's the sports director at KALB TV in Alexandria, Louisiana. And he's come here to guest commentate with Boyd Pierce a few of the matches here today on Mid-South Wrestling. Buddy, originally you're from Jonesboro, Arkansas. Just how'd you get interested in wrestling?
Oh, Arky moved down to Louisiana, Bill. Of course, I've always been interested in pro wrestling, one of the most exciting pro sports around these days. Central Louisiana, Alexandria, one of the best wrestling areas in the state of Louisiana. Wrestling fans are the greatest in Sinaloa.
Well, we sure appreciate KALB TV because we've been with them a long, long time, and they've made wrestling what it is today, along with the promoters in Alexandria and with the talent of Mid-South. And we're certainly proud to have you here, and I know Boyd Pierce will be looking forward to you sharing some of the commentary with him. First, we have to look back to a little situation that happened last week when the Mid-South tag titles were at stake against Andre the Giant and Mr. USA Tony Atlas. And there was an altercation, a serious altercation, in which involved one Hacksaw Duggan and Kamala, the Ugandan warrior, along with Skandor Akbar. And this time, Ted DiBiase is pleading innocent. He said he had nothing to do with the Akbar situation. He said that was a personal score that Akbar and Kamala had with the 8th wonder of the world, Andre the Giant. We have sent the films of that match to the Law Enforcement or Rule Enforcement Committee of Mid-South Wrestling in Florida. Charlie Lay is the president and chairman of that committee. We do expect some action. There could be very serious and heavy fines levied because of that action here last week. But let's listen as DiBiase and Matt Bourne profess their innocence and exult in their retaining the titles.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. That's right, all you people out there. You're looking at the Mid-South Tag Team Champions. Maybe much to your dismay, but in fact, we are still the Mid-South Tag Team Champions. Look at the team we beat. Last week, right here on television,
Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant and Big Guns Tony Atlas. Probably the most awesome team to ever been pitted against any tag team combination, and we are still your champions. Hacksaw, come on in here, Hacksaw, and join this celebration. You're part of the Rat Pack. That's right. Thank you, brother.
Getting back those belts that rightfully belong to you, and being a team that will go down in history as one of the strongest teams. But obviously, these two guys are stronger. One thing I want to ask you, Teddy, you had nothing to do with that Akbar coming down there because the Rat Pack can stick together. Tell me you had nothing to do with it.
Well, why'd you ask?
Well, there's 3 reasons. First of all, I don't like managers, and I know you guys don't. We don't need no manager taking care of our business. Second of all, that guy's some oil man. He's making a living off my bread, your bread, my family's bread, your family's bread. We don't need that. And third, and most of all, he has taken care of that Iron Sheik character that has something to do with Iran. Now, I stand for what I stand for, but some things I don't. So we don't need him, baby. And I'm proud of you guys. Tell me you had nothing to do with it, baby.
No, man, no. One for all for one. We're the Rat Pack, man.
All together, the 3 of us, we can take care of business. And if you people got any questions, Dog, Atlas, anybody, just come and try any one of us.
Well, they're all gloating now, but let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, they have made the biggest man in wrestling mad. And I don't care whether you're in Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Oklahoma, wherever you might be. I mean, mad is spelled M-A-D. So once somewhere down the line, they'll have to face him again, right? With us now, as Bill Watts has told you, with a wonderful introduction, and we welcome him here to the platform and on the table of Mid-South Wrestling, Buddy Nichols. Buddy, we look forward to being with us as our guest this week. We're going to go directly to the ring, and then you'll tell us all about it in the first match.
Okay, thank you very much, Boyd. Happy to be here.
Thank you.
This event is for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 240 pounds from Hollywood, California, Tom Renesto Jr. And in the blue corner at 250 pounds from Topeka, Kansas, Art Cruz.
And the introduction of the opening event, Art Cruz, Topeka, Kansas, trained by the veteran Ronnie Etchison, versus Tom Ernesto Jr., who was brought up in the wrestling world by his wrestling father, Tom Ernesto Sr. Now to tell us all about it, our guest, Buddy Nichols. Buddy?
Thank you very much, Boyd. A couple of fine young wrestlers in the ring right now. As you said, Tom Dinesto out of California. Cruz with a fireman carry and takedown. Beautiful move by Art. Art been in the Mid-South wrestling area a few weeks now, displaying his talents throughout the Mid-South area. Dinesto tries to shake loose from the armbar. Now he'll go with the pickup slam, but Art Cruz hangs on very nicely and retains the armbar. Back to their feet now. Dinesto has Cruz off the rope. Body block has him down. Cruz, beautiful drop kick. And again, you see Art Cruz working on the left arm. Tom Dinesto, Cruz in the solid black trunks, and Dinesto in the solid black Olympic type wrestling attire. Tom Dinesto looking for a little help from the crowd, but unfortunately, Boyd, he's not going to get it here today. Again, Cruz back up against the rope. Ooh, tough elbow coming off the rope. Dinesto again goes to the rope himself. And Cruz right back on that arm bar and takes him down hard on the arm drag. Referee Alfred Neely checking with Dinesto. Dinesto very vocally, no, I will not give it up. Art Cruz takes a shot to the upper chest and reverts right back with a little of his own. However, Dinesto with the elbow to the top of the head into the far turnbuckle. Art Cruz, a very well-built young man, and he really jumps on the attack of Dinesto. Now Dinesto with a rake across the eyes. And Art Cruz looks for a little help to try to shake the cobwebs. Again, Dinesto will wheel, now reverse, and Dinesto into the turnbuckle. Backflip, and he is down hard. And Art Cruz comes in with a solid right, another one off the ropes, and the third one put him down hard. These young men going after it real hard here in the early part of this match. Again, Dinesto off the ropes, a high backflip, and Art Cruz with an opportunity to put him down. There's the reverse neck breaker, and Cruz has an opportunity. Hooks the leg, 2, 3, and Art Cruz comes up with a big win.
Not only Art Cruz gains a victory, but also expert commentary from Buddy Nichols, and we're going to look forward to the same later on in another match in this week's program. Right now, wrestling fans, we'll be right back with more action after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
Wherever Michael Hayes, Terry Gordy, and Buddy Roberts are, there's a tremendous amount of excitement and a tremendous amount of controversy. A lot of people like the Freebirds and a lot of people dislike them. I happen to be of the latter. I don't believe people change their stripes. I think that the Freebirds under Michael Hayes are under an evil influence, a very opportunist, and then December the 25th, Christmas Day, they had a match for the NWA Championship in Dallas inside a steel cage. Michael Hayes had been elected by the people to be the second referee in the match to maintain order. A cage match is a very violent match, and it's oftentimes a very bloody match because of the barbs on the cage. We'll join the last few moments of this match with Kerry Von Erich and Ric Flair, the NWA champion, and you'll see why people all over the country are talking about the Freebirds reverting to form and the big feud going on in Texas between the Von Erich family and the Freebirds. Let's join the final moments of that long, grueling match in the cage with Kerry Von Erich and Ric Flair.
Studios with Fritz Von Erich. He would bleed, and he would be battered, and there is the head claw. There is the claw that Kerry Von Erich learned from the master, his father, Fritz Von Erich. And Flair now knowing that he is in serious, serious trouble, trying to keep out of the center of the ring, trying to get to the rope. The claw on the head of Ric Flair, the champion. And Flair hanging as Michael Hayes talks to Terry Gordy. One. Flair close to this conclusion, and his foot hits the bottom rope. And now Hayes is calling a break. David Manning said, no, it just touched the rope. It was just sort of a reflex motion. One. And Hayes continues to try to break Kerry Von Erich. And now he's trying to break the hold. The foot just grazed the rope as though. Now Hayes is again for the sixth time getting physical and breaks the claw. And Kerry, understandably, is very, very upset about this. Hayes claims the rope. Look out! And now Terry Gordy has opened the door over there. I don't know what he's opened the cage for. But Gordy just opened the cage door. But Hayes said, no, it wasn't that way, Michael. It wasn't that way. It just grazed it. It was just a reflex. And now Kerry Von Erich's in trouble over by the cage door. Michael Hayes, he must have thought he saw a lot more than he saw because the foot just kind of glanced off the rope. Well, Hayes is certainly wound up in his intent. Now Hayes is getting so frustrated in this event. Well, Hayes has just really lost his composure. He's lost his composure completely. He wants Kerry to get out and put the pin on Flair. Hayes has just really kind of lost his composure here. He's telling Kerry Von Erich to put a pin on Flair after Hayes knocked him down. Hayes is just... And now Hayes is going out. Hayes going out the door. Here he comes. Ric Flair again. Oh, Kerry Von Erich hit him in the head by that cage door. As Gordy threw it too, and Kerry Von Erich smashed by the cage door, leaning over the rope. Hayes now comes back in. Flair. Well, Hayes has certainly taken this match. 1, 2, and now 3. And Hayes missed again. Hayes has just totally lost his cool. He counted 3. And now Manning wants everybody out. And here's Flair going to work on Kerry Von Erich. Ring the bell. David Manning, a frustrated veteran. No fall. Okay, no fall. That was it. Not ring the bell, just no fall. Now Kerry Von Erich. I don't know, that cage door slammed into his head. Kerry shaken, battered, certainly had the match won. Michael Hayes lost his composure as a referee on both sides. And now Ric Flair is in the urgency of the moment. Kerry's eyes half closed. He seems to be in terrible shape. And Ric Flair just pounding away. So Flair, the world champion. has a groggy Kerry Von Erich in his grasp. Flying head bear. Here comes Flair on top. 1, 2, and oh, it's not enough. From somewhere inside, Kerry Von Erich. 1, 2, but Kerry will not go down. Kerry doesn't seem to really know exactly what's happening, but he's still in it. He has not really been in complete control since that steel door frame hit him in the head. But he must manage to remember. 1 now, and still fighting back, still battling, still trying to win that championship. Somewhere inside, something is telling him to go after it. And Flair going right to work. Flair leading a charmed life in this bout because he was finished. But Hayes decided to pull Kerry off of the claw. Kerry, wild, battling like the 15th round of a boxing match. Fighting seemingly on instinct. There is his discus punch. His swinging discus punch, and Kerry. Kerry can win the championship, David Manning. Looking at his eyes. David Manning looking at his eyes. I can see him. He's glassy and bleary-eyed on the mat. Ric Flair is the winner. Ric Flair declared the winner. Kerry looks like he is holding his head and his eyes are glassy. And he's lying on the mat. You think that steel door smashed into his skull. And they've called for the doctor, the physician, to come in and take a look at him. Ric Flair is still the champion. So he doesn't seem to know where he is. And Kerry Von Erich lying here. Yes. Kerry has been injured. And Flair is still the champion.
Kerry Von Erich sustained a severe concussion due to that iron gate hitting him in the head when Terry Gordy swung it shut on him. And he was out of wrestling for a while. And Michael Hayes and the Freebirds have decided to dominate Texas, and they pretty well have. They've wrapped up the tag team titles and one of the important regional titles in that area. But the Von Erich family have been in some severe feuds before, and if I know them, they're going to be hot on the Freebirds' trail. But we did want to clarify, because so many fans have asked us, is what happened with the Freebirds in Dallas, Texas, and that's what happened. And Boyd, we'll be back after that.
And we'll see Marty Lundy versus Mr. Wrestling 2 when we return.
This event is for 1 fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 250 pounds from Rome, Georgia, Marty Lundy. And in the blue corner at 236 pounds from Atlanta, Georgia, Mr. Wrestling 2.
This event, 1 fall, 10-minute time limit. Both contestants hailing from the state of Georgia. From Rome, Marty Lundy versus the ever-popular 222, Mr. Wrestling 2. Here's Bill Watts.
Well, Boyd, Wrestling 2 is a living legend. He's one of the toughest competitors I've ever met. Right now, he's extremely upset. Somebody has been symbolically desecrating trademarks of Wrestling 2, like his mask. They've sent him maimed dolls. They've been threatening him. And whoever it is won't come out of the closet, so to speak. And Wrestling 2 offered $500 reward, and he's upped that reward to $1,000 to anybody that can bring him and prove to him who the person is. He just wants a shot at whoever it is. This type of psychological warfare is sometimes the worst kind because of the unknown. Marty Lundy, a young man. We've seen this man improve. He's a powerful man. Squats 600 pounds on the full leg squat in the gymnasium. Getting to be a real powerhouse. Came to Mid-South Wrestling fairly green and inexperienced. He's tried some of the tough ones, and he's against one of the tough ones right now. A man that's just tenacious in the way he'll attack you. You know, earlier you had Buddy Nichols on from KALB TV, the sports director there, and there's a man getting paid to make a living and doing something what everybody else would pay to get to do, because being a sports director and being around sports all your life, as far as I'm concerned, is utopia. And also, I'd like to give congratulations to Lindsey Williams, the chairman of the Louisiana State Athletic Commission's young son, Lynn, who's a fine young man. He visited me this past summer and spent time with my family, and we really enjoyed him. He's truly a tribute to a young man, but this youngster just went 36-0 in the season, won 36 straight matches in amateur wrestling, and became the state champion at the 157-pound body weight for the state of Louisiana. And I hope that Larry Shakatana and at LSU, the head coach of that fine Louisiana University wrestling team, is keeping a close eye on Lynn and these youngsters as the wrestling is growing in the amateur levels all through the state of Louisiana. Referee calling for the break. 2. Marty Lundy sneaking his shots in right there on the break, hitting those forearms. The wrestling 2, a ring-savvy veteran, a tough man. Everywhere you go, the crowds go 2, 2, 2. A man who said that he will wear Kamala down. He'll get on him like a pit bulldog does and just stay on that hold, shake him and prove it. Whenever Kamala throws him off, he'll hang on, and he is going to figure out the way to put it on Kamala and Skandor Akbar. Of course, you got one JYD back, Stagger Lee, who has missed, gone. Many rumors circulating around. One rumor that DiBiase has created some parole problems. I don't know that I believe that. But whatever it is, JYD back on the scene, Stagger Lee gone, and gone with him the North American title. Therefore, March 21st, downtown New Orleans, is going to be a one-night tournament for the North American Championship. A lot of big-name stars are already serving notice that they'll be in New Orleans that night to try for that North American title. Knee lift, Mr. Wrestling 2, the only man that can fire that knee lift like that. And he, Mr. Wrestling 2, will be in that big tournament, Boyd Pierce, in downtown New Orleans on March the 21st. A lot of things happening. And Boyd, right before we went on the air for this taping session, we received a very unusual message. And all I know is the message says that Junkyard Dog, when you get in the ring to wrestle your match, be sure to watch the back door. And you know, with the things that have been happening to Wrestling 2 and the things that have happened to the Junkyard Dog, even like when Duggan was in the audience in the gorilla suit, I'm sure that maybe that is a crank threat. We don't know, but I'm sure the Dog cannot afford to ignore it. And we'll find out, because the Junkyard Dog is next.
That's right, and we'll be right back after this word from Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
This event is for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 238 pounds from Vancouver, British Columbia, Sonny Rogers. Here he is at 265 pounds from Tennessee, the Junkyard Dog.
Sonny Rogers versus the Junkyard Dog. Alfred Neely calls for the bell.
Well, I keep wondering, Wrestling 2 and Tiger Conway Jr. came out, and they're all kind of looking toward the back there at that warning, and the Junkyard Dog is looking back there. He picked his chain up. Something's coming out of the back door if we can get the camera to pick it up. And hear a motor. man dressed in black. Run back into that smoke-filled area. Sonny Rogers gets out of the ring. The Junkyard Dog looks like a martial arts type of confrontation, a kendo stick. I don't know if that's symbolic or if they actually fight with those sticks. And the crowd is looking forward to this, whatever's going to happen. This man is coming in, and so far the Junkyard Dog is staring him, looking right at him, whoever he is. The man is doing some form of ceremony. I don't know if this is some type of ceremonial warning. They had said for Junkyard Dog to watch the back door. So far the man has not attacked him. I believe that from the times I wrestled in Japan, that certainly looks like a kendo stick, which is a stick that they practice the art of the samurai type sword fighting. But these sticks can be very, very effective in a fight against a person naturally not armed with a blade. They're made of bamboo, very strong. The guy's got some kind of a metal face mask with a grill effect on, I suppose, to keep it from injuring your eyes, but he's doing definitely some type of martial arts situation. We don't know who he is. He is definitely facing off, and the Dog, it looks like they're about ready to come to blows there. Crowd is chanting for JYD. JYD. The man now is leaving the ring. But Sonny Rogers from behind, boys. Sonny Rogers saw his chance to try to score on the JYD right here on television, and he's jumped the Junkyard Dog from behind. Apparently, the other threat was just a ceremonial warning. It's like kind of a code of honor, maybe a Bushido code of honor. But Sonny Rogers, it didn't last long. JYD pumped up over worrying what was coming to that back door. He was ready and raring to go.
And the Big Thump Junkyard Dog gains a victory. Tag team action coming up after this message from Mid-South.
This is a non-title for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner, the Mid-South Tag Team Champions. At 268 pounds from Omaha, Nebraska, Ted DiBiase. And his partner at 242 pounds from Atlanta, Georgia, Matt Bourne. In the blue corner at 222 pounds from Knoxville, Tennessee, Tim Horner. And his partner at 220 pounds from Houston, Texas, Tony Torres.
Tag team action, Tony Torres and Tim Horner against the Mid-South Tag Team Champions, Ted DiBiase and Matt Bourne, a non-title match, but nevertheless, that should never slow down the action anytime DiBiase and Bourne's in the ring, Bill.
That's right. The Mid-South champions naturally are certainly high over retaining the titles. In the match last week against Tony Atlas and Andre the Giant, and a lot of skullduggery involved there. I was very interested in Hacksaw Duggan's remarks in that interview, and that he asked DiBiase, did you have anything to do with Akbar and Kamala? And I think it really shocked DiBiase, and I think DiBiase may have been able to reveal a little more than he did till he saw that Hacksaw was upset about it. Hacksaw said he is an American. And the Rat Pack, whether you like him or not, he feels they can handle everything, and he doesn't like managers. He doesn't like the people that control the oil situation, the Arabs. And he doesn't like Skandor Akbar for his dealings in the past with the Iron Sheik, a man who bragged about his close association to the Khomeini, who kidnapped very cowardly the Americans and held them hostage. And so I think, I don't know about that situation. I think DiBiase may know more about Skandor Akbar and Kamala being involved in the Andre the Giant affair than he wanted to admit right there, because the big man, Hacksaw Duggan, was kind of pressuring him about that, and DiBiase will try to appease him, I'm sure. The Rat Pack, as they're called. A lot of action, and the man goes and, like I say, tagged in. And they caught Matt Bourne. Young Tim Horner has certainly been a bright spot in Mid-South Wrestling, and this youngster really tries hard. He gives it 100%. I think it's great when Grizzly Smith, the matchmaker, gives guys like Art Cruz and Tom Ernesto a chance on TV. And coming up later, we have Joe Stark and Kelly Koniski. Give these youngsters a chance to show their wares on TV, so the promoters will ask for them to be in their towns, wrestle more. Next week, DiBiase and Bourne will wrestle Junkyard Dog and Mr. Wrestling 2 in a non-title bout right here on TV. Also in 2 weeks, Mr. Olympia returns. Remember, on December the 8th, he took Wrestling 2's place in a title bout, but the loser of the fall had to leave town for 60 days. And he had to leave town, but the time is up, and he's champing at the bit. He says he also will enter that big tournament March the 21st in downtown New Orleans at the Civic Center for the North American title that Stagger Lee has mysteriously vacated.
And the champions gain a victory in a non-title match. That's Ted DiBiase and Matt Bourne. We'll see the big battle, Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Tiger Conway Jr., when we return after this message.
This is a non-title event for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 275 pounds from New York City, the Louisiana heavyweight champion, Hacksaw Duggan. And in the blue corner at 238 pounds from Houston, Texas, Tiger Conway Jr.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan, the foot stomping from New York State, the Louisiana heavyweight champion, against the very popular and capable star from Houston, Tiger Conway Jr. Alfred Neely called for the bell. Here's Bill Watts.
This could be a battle, Boyd Pierce. You know, Hacksaw Duggan's a man that just gets into it with everybody, but Tiger Conway Jr. is one tough hombre. His dad was a great, great professional athlete. He fits in that vein of guys that have grown up in it, and he's fought for everything he's got from the word go. He kind of took a hiatus from wrestling, had other things that he had to get settled, but he's been training and he's back. And some things that happened in Houston lately, Tiger says he wants to go back on the campaign full time. And he said the only way to make a name for yourself in Mid-South is to come take on the tough guys. He said, I don't want to start from the bottom. I want to get right in the thick of things. And I guarantee you couldn't get it any thicker or any tougher than the man who says he has now his own Ace Exterminating Company, that he exterminates cockroaches, and especially cockroaches from south of the border, as Duggan's comments, that he has got one Chavo Guerrero he has referred to as being a cockroach, and that he's going to exterminate him. Well, let me tell you, Mr. Duggan has taken some pretty big, tough guys, and Chavo Guerrero is still around, as one Gorgeous Gino Hernandez found out. And Gorgeous Gino, when he finally saw the light, it got to him right in the courage department, and he completely, in my opinion, lost his guts if he ever had any to start with, and flat chickened out in one of the most important matches of his career. And he is, as far as I'm concerned, he is completely taken any validity of having a reputation in wrestling and destroyed it. And Chavo Guerrero is still riding high and whipping them long, tall, and short. And I'm sure Chavo will react to that insult as anybody would. Nobody would like to be referred to, I don't believe, in that venue. Tiger Conway against Hacksaw Duggan, the Louisiana state champion, the man who's been pressuring Paul Bosch to hold a big tournament this summer in Houston for the Brass Knucks Championship. In my last conversation with Paul Bosch and Peter Burkholz, they are already putting the wheels in motion, and they say that will be the biggest tournament ever in Houston for that Brass Knucks trophy. And right there's one man I know it's going to be in it. Tiger Conway says he's going to be in it, but he's also going to be in that big tournament for the North American title March 21st in New Orleans. And Tiger Conway explodes back on Hacksaw Duggan, and he shows Hacksaw Duggan how to spear something besides another person, that turnbuckle, and it'll bring you up short. These guys have thrown finesse and skills out the window, and it's just going into who's toughest out there. Tiger Conway catches the big man, a man who certainly shows no regard for his own personal safety, and Duggan powers out of that one, and the referee Alfred Neely really got his face mashed, and I think he's a little stunned, and Tiger was a little surprised, but Tiger caught Duggan. Duggan missed his opportunity, and as Duggan scooped him over the top, that should be an automatic disqualification, but I don't know if the referee saw it. Duggan saying, count him out. Tiger, like a cat, landed on his feet, and he's here to battle, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't want to be saved by the rules and regulations. He wants to fight. But Duggan has fired him back in the referee, and this time Alfred Neely, who was a little bit dazed anyway, got knocked clear out on the floor there. You never know what's going to happen on Mid-South Wrestling. When the smoke cleared, you've got karate people and kendo warriors or whatever that man is. Now Duggan's set for the spear. Duggan's set for the spear, and as Tiger gets up, Duggan spears him. And Duggan has topped him for the fall, and it looks like Tiger Conway is down for the count. And Alfred Neely calling for the bell to ring, but he didn't count. Alfred Neely did not count Tiger Conway's shoulders. Something else is going on. Duggan raises it. Neely pulled his hand down. Neely indicating that Duggan had thrown Tiger Conway over the top, and Duggan just threw Neely out on the floor, which is another automatic disqualification, plus a stiff fine. And he's starting to chew on Tiger Conway, but Conway can handle it when it comes to ghetto style. And Tiger Conway headbutting big Hacksaw Duggan. Tiger Conway came in here to let you know that he was serving notice, that he wants right in the thick of it. And this is the place to get in the thick of it. And Hacksaw Duggan says he's leaving, it looks like. Hacksaw said he's leaving. Now Tiger has the people. Tiger's, come on, get wet, get a little bit more of this. And Alfred Neely indicates Tiger Conway Jr. the winner of this match.
And we'll be back with more action following this message from Mid-South Wrestling.
This event is for one fall or remaining television time. In the red corner at 270 pounds, from Vancouver, British Columbia, Kelly Kaniski. And in the blue corner at 222 pounds, from Jonesboro, Arkansas, Joe Stark.
Two youngsters in the ring. Joe Stark shedding his green jacket against the son of the former NWA heavyweight champion of the world, Gene Kaniski, in the form of Kelly Kaniski, a tremendous grappler in his own right. And coming back to our Mid-South table, after a brief pause as Bill Watts filled in the center matches, man who done a tremendous job on the opening event, and we look forward to the commentary of Buddy Nichols. Buddy?
Well, thank you very much, Boyd. Having an opportunity here to watch young Joe Stark in action up around my stomping grounds, Jonesboro, Arkansas. It'd be good to see him in action here today. He's up against a very tough competitor, as you mentioned, the son of Gene Kaniski. A lot of wrestling background in the form of Kelly Kaniski, well-built young man out of Canada. And right now, Kelly has things going his way. Nice drop kick as Stark comes off the ropes, and Kaniski hits him right on the chin, takes him down, hooks the leg, may have a quick count. Stark, however, able to pop out of it despite the fact that Kaniski tried to hook the leg. Evidently did not hook it tight enough. Now Kaninsky again, reverse face lock on young Joe Stark. Stark giving away a little bit of weight here in this match, Boyd. Kaninsky, well-built young man, but Stark just over the 200-pound mark. And we'll be giving away some experience and some weight in this match. Stark is in the black trunks, Kaninsky in the blue. Again, Stark goes down. Kaninsky may have had a little help with the tights. My angle looks like he may have had the right hand on the back of Joe Stark's tights to take him down.
As the time on the clock, we have 2 minutes remaining, buddy.
All right, so one of these wrestlers needs to get something going right now. Kaninsky has, as we mentioned, things going pretty much his way throughout the entire match. Again, a reversal, a nice one by Stark. Went in a little too quick, and Kaninsky caught him on the head with the elbow as Stark went in just a little too quickly. Stark is back down on the mat, and Kaninsky again goes with that face lock from behind.
I know as your job as sports director, oftentimes we don't get as excited in professional wrestling as you do covering all sports, because it only takes 3 seconds for a man to pin his opponent. So it could happen anytime where it couldn't in any other sport.
It does.
1 minute, 60 seconds, time remaining.
Again, Kaninsky has the leg locked, but young Joe Stark has the right leg over the rope. Referee breaks it up, and now they get into a slugging match. And Kaninsky right now puts Joe Stark down to one knee on the canvas. There's the knee to the left shoulder. Puts Stark up against the rope. Time running out here, less than a minute.
Time is running. We'll keep the cameras going. We want to remind you that next week here on Mid-South Wrestling Television, tag team action, it'll be Mr. Wrestling 2 and the Junkyard Dog versus Ted DiBiase and Matt Bourne in a non-title match, but nevertheless, a lot of action between those four when they get in the ring. So we just have time to tell you as the clock on the wall is going, we'll stay with it. This is Boyd Pierce speaking for a man who's done a tremendous job this week. Buddy Nichols, we hope you'll come back and be with us. Thank you for joining us as your expert commentary. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching us. Until next week on Mid-South Wrestling Television Network, goodbye to all of you.